This is a tutorial for intermediate or beginning Blender users. I'm using version 2.63a. And in this tutorial I'll show you how to use the particle system to your advantage in conjunction with different layers. And this is a really important feature. So one particle system doesn't affect the other. Alright, so I have a basic setup here with some lights, a couple of spotlights, and a plane. And you notice I was in Blender game mode for the moment so I could take care of the lighting over here in the in the render button here. I have GLSL selected, and that way I can have the texture button selected, because without it I won't have the lights and the shadows. You might see my basic particle launcher tutorial for setting that up, but I'll have to go back into Blender render for the mode to be able to have add particles to the scene. So what I want to do is, let me just click Shift S and move the cursor to the center for the moment, then Shift A. I'll add a small plane to the scene. I'm going to raise him up. Got to give him a color. I'm going to give him green. I'll just turn him green for the moment. Alright, and then I'll scale him a little bit, and I'll move him to the side, and then I'll hit Shift A again, and I'll add another plane. I'll scale him up. I'll make it blue so we can see it like that. Alright, and I'm going to use these both as particle systems. Also, I'll add a particle system to this one, and I'll emit the particles from the face just a little bit. So the normal, that's the normal direction. Normal means perpendicular to the face. And then they'll do the same thing here. Add a particle system to this guy. Sometimes that particle system doesn't pop up right away for some reason. I haven't figured that out. Alright, give him a few more particles, and also crank up the normal on that. So let's just see if that's actually working. So I'll Alt A. So they're both working. You can see they're both spitting out particles like this. So what I want to do is I want to use the physics effects to control each one. Now, first thing you see is the this particular plane. Let's see. I can't really see. They're really bouncing out through there. Let's see underneath. See how they're spitting through there like that? Well, that's because we don't have a collision in the plane. So I'm going to use this guy, and they're going to be on layer 1. Alright? And so what I want to be able to do is control the particles so they bounce off the plane. So first of all, in the collision area, physics button area, I'll hit collision, and I'll use the default collision. So now you look underneath, the blue particles aren't going through, and nor are the green particles. Let's see, let me zoom out a little bit. Like that, you can see them hitting it, but they're not going through. So they're bouncing off the plane like that. Then I want to apply a vortex effect to, let's move him over in the light a little bit so you can see him like this. So from here I'll go in, press the 1 button. I'm going to move my cursor up here. I'll move it kind of right above it, and I'm going to add an empty to the scene like this, and then I'll put my force field. Since I'm still in the physics tab, I'll click the force field button, and I'll add a just a simple vortex. Where is this guy? There he is, right there. Alright, and where's he pointed? Is he horizontal to the scene? He is. And I'll click him, and then you can see suddenly, I'll look at it from above, that he's spinning, and yet this one's spinning. He's spinning out there like that. But now what I want to do is I want to have 2 vortices. Right? I want to have one spinning one way and another spinning another way. Maybe say you're modeling a hurricane, and you know how a hurricane works. It spins in the northern hemisphere. It spins counterclockwise when the moisture is rising, but when it gets up high in the atmosphere and you hit high pressure, it's actually spinning the other direction. Spinning, so it spins counterclockwise at the surface and clockwise up above when it evacuates the air. So that's what I want to try and simulate with this. But we can see the vortex is affecting that. So, well, what if I put a vortex over that? Well, I can tell you already, I know that what it's going to do, it's going to just mess it up. What you have to do is they have to be on separate layers. So in order to make one spin one direction and the other spin the other direction, since this is highlighted, I'm going to press the M button, M key. I'm going to move him to layer 2. that menu pops up, I just click layer 2 with the left key, and then I move my mouse out of the way and it makes the menu go away. Suddenly he's on layer 2, and you can verify that by you see that it's orange. Since he was the active object, that's why it shows up orange here. If I was to click this blue plane, it's orange there and it's grayed out because it's the active layer. But now I want both layers active, so I have to hold down the shift key and I'll press that button at the same time with the left mouse button. Now both are visible. But now also notice, so we have two layers, but now notice my particles go through because this plane is on the first layer, so it's not colliding with it because it doesn't know about it. So what you need to do is we'll just make it simple. Since we're in layer 1, we're in the active layer like this. When I verify that, I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to Shift D and copy it. So I've copied it, and then I'm going to left click it, and I've left clicked it right into place. So you don't really see anything happening, but I have made another copy of the object because now it's plane.003. And now I'm going to press M, and I'm going to move him to the second layer as well. So now if I go to the second layer, you can see I have that on that layer. There's the plane and there's the particle system. And now I'm going to hold the shift key down and press this key. Now I have both of them back on this layer. And then you'll notice immediately what happens is that this particle system here, which has the vortex affecting it, is now not affecting this one as well. Alright, so we're kind of getting there. So now I'll move this over. I'm going to move him. I'll go in ortho mode with the 5 key. I'll hit G. I'll kind of place him right on top of there. I'll hit 1, and then I'll move him up so he's above it like this. So now we have one above and one below like this. And then I want to be able to have this physics effect, a vortex affecting this one. So I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'll just work in, well, I can work in this layer, that's fine. I'll get out in ortho mode for the moment, and I'll just move I'll just click up here. I'll just switch between 1 and 3 so I'm approximately above it. I'm going to Shift A, add another empty physics button, add another force field, and I'll add another vortex. But now you see it's duplicating it since I've added it. I'm in layer 1, but since it's added it, it's not doing anything to layer 2, but it has amplified the vortex effect in layer 1 because it's on layer 1. So I just want to move this guy over to layer 2. So I'll put M to layer 2 there, and then suddenly you can see he's spinning as well. But what I want to do is I want to spin him in the other direction. So I'm going to take the empty and I'm going to rotate him, say on X. I'll just hit R button, X, and I'll type in 180. And I just rotated him 180 degrees. And suddenly now he's rotating in the opposite direction. Let's see if we can see it from above. I'll just crank up the vortex effect a little bit. So you can see him spinning that way. And then you can see this one spinning the other way. Alright, so now you have two particle systems. Now you might not, well, you can change all the other effects, but that kind of gives you an idea. Basically each one has to be on its own layer. This plane had to be on its own layer, so these particles wouldn't go through. Well, you've not seen them go through because the life's not long enough for this particular one, so we could actually change that. Guys, sometimes you have to click these from above. Let's go get that, and let's just make the life longer. We don't need to be that long, but there you get an idea. That is actually not going through. It's going around it, but it's not going through. Alright, so that kind of gives you an idea. You might build yourself a little system like that, but for all those kind of physics effects affecting particles, just keep everything on separate layers, wind, everything like that, and you can have a lot of great, cool, fun effects as a result. Alright, well that's it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson.